Hi there. So, this chapter is called Achieving the Impossible. And I guess it's really more so like achieving what you believe to be impossible or what someone else says is impossible. Because, like, the actual definition of impossible is that it is not possible, you know. So, when you're talking about things that are impossible and things that are just super difficult, those two things are completely different. But it's a very fine line between the two because one thing might seem impossible because it takes you 40 years of doing something every day to accomplish that thing or whatever, and it's really hard to believe or see the future that far out. But impossible also means that out of a potentially infinite number of scenarios in your life, or a near infinite number, because we are constricted by time, that something cannot be done and cannot be achieved. And I think that a lot of people have convinced themselves that a lot of things are impossible for them in their lives. And I thought walking for me for a long time was going to be impossible. Um, Ran 5 miles yesterday, so it wasn't. It took me a long time. The price that had to be paid in order for me to get to that point in my life was way more than I assumed that it was going to be or thought it was going to be. But everything has its price. Everything has its cost. And I don't think that most things are impossible. Um, Not things within some sort of reason, anyway. I mean, I don't know if we're. I think flying like Superman maybe is impossible. Um, as far as I know, it is impossible. I could be wrong. I frequently am. Wish that were possible. That'd be pretty cool. But there may be things that are impossible for you to do as the person you are today. But it doesn't mean that the person you could be 6 months from now, or a year from now, or 5 years from now, it doesn't mean that those things are going to be impossible for that version of you. Unless you're the same person you are 5 years from now that you are for today. And that would be, in my opinion, I believe that would be unfortunate. Don't sell yourself short. And don't allow the world or the people in your life to convince you that you are not capable of doing anything you want to do in your life. Because people will tell you that. People will tell you, hey man, you can't do that. Hey, that's never going to happen. Hey, you should have smaller dreams. Imagine less. Hope less. Dream less. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. In life, I believe that we should hope more and dream more. Imagine more. Because that's what gives us hope for our future. That's what gives us hope, is the idealization that our future is going to be at least as good, if not better, than it is today in this moment. And because we're conscious beings, so we have a sense of the past and the present and the future. And we need that because the hope for the future that things are going to get better as we move forward. That's that's what we need. We need hope. Because when you become depressed and you become suicidal, I think that one of those things that happen is that we get it into our head and we believe that our life is not going to be better than it is, or the potential, the possibility that it could get better is impossible, you know. And because I think that we become so certain. It's like, well, I know for a fact that, like, my life is going to be garbage. It's going to be trash from here on out, you know. And who wants to stick around for that? Who wants to stick around for a life that they know is not going to be good? But the thing is, you can't possibly know that. You can't possibly know that. You can't know it. You can assume it, and you can think it, and you can be pretty sure and pretty certain. But you cannot know that for sure. You might think you know it for sure. But I'm talking like infinite possibilities for your life. And I know that for me, whenever I was kind of, well, not kind of, but whenever I was going through that and having that struggle in my own life, I was like, man, I'm pretty sure my life's not going to get any better, you know. Well, I was like, I believed it 100%. I was like, man, my life's not going to get better. But I think about things a lot. I'm a logical person sometimes. At the time, maybe not so much, but but I would sit there and finally one day, you know, it kind of hit me, you know, after 2012, because I was still thinking about it all the time, you know, even though I decided not to end my life, I still thought about it, and I still kind of wanted to, pretty often, for a really long time, actually. And I'll be like, man, my life's never gonna get better. And then I'll be like, dude, but you, like, out of the infinite potential futures and scenarios, like, you don't think there's like one where your life's gonna be better? Like, do you know for sure that it's not going to be better? And I was like, well, I don't know, man, that's a lot of potential futures, you know. And then it's like, because I didn't know for sure that my life was going to be better, but in not knowing that for certain, I also didn't know that my life was not going to be better. Like, I couldn't be like, well, I wasn't 100% on either one. I was like 99.9% sure that my life was going to suck forever. So that's where hope comes in. And we have to imagine potential futures where life is better. And better to our own standards and our own definition of what better is, as your definition as an individual, not what the world tells you is better. Because the world will lie to you about what is better. It'll lie to you a lot. A whole lot. And a lot of people are convinced that they need things that they just don't. They really just don't. Life is as complicated as we want to make it. And the world will complicate it way more than it needs to be. It's really not that hard. But it took me, I guess, kind of disappearing for a while to see that. Don't believe anything is impossible for you. Be hopeful that the future is going to be better. And you have to define what better is for you. You have to define that. Don't allow other people to define it for you. Don't believe that just because your parents told you something was going to make you happy when you were 7 years old that they were right. Or when you were 20. Or when you were 10. I'm not saying your parents are wrong, but I'm saying that they could be. And I'm most definitely saying that you could be wrong about pretty much anything and everything in your life. Which is fine, and that's okay. Because if you are wrong about things, that means you get to change your mind, and then you get to be right about stuff. So, don't be so quick to believe that you're right about everything. Especially if you're thinking that your life's not worth living. Because you're probably wrong. If I was to make a wager, I would bet a substantial amount of money that you're wrong. And if you don't feel like your life is worth living, or that your life matters, become someone's life that does matter, or that could matter. And have hope, and dream and imagine. Use your imagination. Think crazy stuff, crazy beautiful things in the future, and then work towards that, because that's important. And you could definitely become enough. You could become way more than enough. And I urge you to do that. Achieve the impossible and never look back.